So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put together the scaffolding of the structure of this application. So you can see at the bottom here, we do have this nice floating action button. That's what we're going to be putting together. So we're going to use scaffold, and so we can add the top bar and so forth. Okay, let's get started. So opening our reader home screen. So at this point, we just have this text, I am home, which is not flattering. So we're going to get rid of this altogether because we are going to make this even better. Okay, make this beautiful and get to what we want to and show you exactly what we need to do. All right, so the first thing, of course, I'm going to add a scaffolding here, or scaffold as such. And if you hover over, you can see that we can pass a few arguments here for our scaffold modifier. Of course, we have top bar, bottom bar, and snack bar host. And of course, we will be able to add content to our scaffold. So it's a really good structure and I love it. So first, I'm going to add a top bar. It's going to be, of course, a lambda we can pass there. And then right after that, I'm going to add the floating action button, which is also going to be, we can add a trailing lambda as well. And then here is where we're going to have our content. Now we are able to add this floating action button there. So here I'm going to have a fab content composable, and it's going to be a lambda as such. Let's go ahead and create this composable. And voila, you can see we pass in a function, but this function here, I'm going to call this is going to take care of on tap as such. And we're going to pass a string when that happens so that we can retrieve whatever we need to retrieve. We'll see that. All right, so our fab here, I'm going to say floating action button. There it is. And there is the on click. And if you hover over, of course, like any composable, you can see we can pass a lot of arguments, modifier, interaction, shape, and so forth, right? So what we want to do is we want to have a structure such as this. So we can have, of course, this circle with a plus icon. So I'm going to put a shape. I'm going to say rounded corner shape. And I'm going to pass about 50. So I want this really round. Import that. And then I want to pass a background color. And for now, let's say material, theme. And I'm going to pass colors. Let's say background color, like this. And then inside, I'm going to add an icon. And this icon, I'm going to say icons.default.add. Icon or plus sign there. And contents, I'm just going to, and for the content description here for visually impaired people, we can say something like add a book, or perhaps, yes, add a book. And also I can pass a tint color here. Let's say material, theme, I'm going to say colors.on secondary, like this. So that means then where we call this, which is right here, we do have our lambda on tap, which means we can use that. And this is where we're going to pass something, right? In this case, the on click is going to pass us the string if we need to and go from there. Okay. Now we need to make sure that this on tap is called somewhere. So I'm going to just call this our on tap. And all we need really at this point, just pass an empty string because there's really nothing we want to pass there. In fact, I can just remove this altogether to say that I don't want to pass anything. Just call on tap. And as for our content here, let's go ahead and put a surface. I'm going to add a modifier such, and I want fill max size. And here we'll add our home content. I get. Let's go ahead and give it a run real quick so we hopefully can see something. And there you have it. Just like that, you can see we have that nice button, floating action button at the bottom there. Now, this doesn't look that great because we have, of course, we don't have a nice color there because I just added a material theme, which is fine, but let's change that real quick manually. So I'm going to change our background color here to a hex color that I have. So color, and I'm going to say 0xFF 92CBDF, like this, and you can see it's going to be this nice color there. So let's go ahead and run again just to see. And nice. Okay, so it looks really nice. It's got, I can go ahead and say something again like colors dot white, like that. And you can see now it looks pretty much like what we have here. Okay, next let's go ahead and see if we can add the top, what we have here, our top bar. So it's easy to do that because remember we have our scaffold and we have our top bar. So here I can say, because we're going to be using this top bar in different places, right? And we want to make sure that it is customizable depending on the screen. There are a few things that we're going to change. So I'm going to create, of course, a separate composable top bar. So here I'm going to just say, at composable, create a function, call this reader app bar, and I'm going to pass a few parameters. The first one being the title that we're going to pass, right? Going to be a string, and then I'm going to pass a boolean called show profile, because it's like I said, in some places I won't need to show a profile. We'll see. It's going to be a boolean. At first it's going to be true as a default value, and of course I'm going to pass our nav controller if need be, right? So inside here I'm just going to create a top bar. We do get a top bar, a composable that comes with Compose. For the title, it's going to be, I can pass a lambda there, and it's going to be, I'm going to add a row because I want to create this structure here. And then we can pass actions. Oops, going to be right after this one. Let's say actions as such. Okay, so looks like I don't need to pass any lambda like this. Okay. And of course, inside, if you have an overall top bar, you'll see that we can pass elevation, background colors, and so forth. Let's pass the background color. So I'm going to make this transparent as such, and elevation is going to be 0.dp because I don't want to see any elevation whatsoever. And I like to put things this way first. That way you can see what you're working with, because you will see, or as you've noticed in Compose, you are piling up all of the, or passing arguments into our composables, and sometimes it can look really funky, very strange. So putting the structure like this first, all of our arguments as they are like this right now, it just helps you to see exactly what to fill in. Okay, so now for the title, what I want to do is I want to have this structure here. I'm going to have an icon, and then something like this, and then like that. Okay, so in this case here, I'm just going to go ahead and say for a title, I'm going to put a row first. So this row, I'm going to make it vertical. Let's go and import our row, and I'm going to check if show profile, right, is true. Then I'm going to add an image, right, through our image painter. I'm going to use our painter resource and pass an image that I may have. So I'm going to say ID or r.drawable, and it looks like our R is not, so let's say R, and sometimes it takes time to show which R we're looking for. We want this R for resources for our app, so look for the one that has your package name like this. Okay, so I enter. I can say that drawable such, and I want to go and get, it's going to be IC launcher. Now you may not have this. Let's go and finalize this real quick. This is going to be, say, just icon. But at this point, actually, what I can do, instead of adding this IC launcher, I can just add an icon. All I want really is to have an icon that represents this app. So you can create your own icon. You can go online and find an icon for your app. I just have one here, and so it's okay. We don't have to add exactly like this. So I'm going to get rid of this. So now I'm just going to get an icon and pass our icons default, and I want person or book. Do I have a book? Let's say book. For now, let's just add a favorite. That's totally fine. So it doesn't really matter. And then for the content description here, I'm just going to say logo icon. All right. And of course, we can pass a modifier here. And I'm going to clip this icon with a rounded corner shape. I'm going to just give 12 dp all around. And let's go ahead and scale it down to at least 0.6, so about 60%. Scale it down. So outside of if statement here, I'm going to put a text. This text will take the title that we're passing, right? And we can set it up better, give it some adjustments here. I'm going to say color. I'm going to use this color, that red, that copy, and pass an alpha here, and 0.7 float, just to get that nice red there. Let's also give a style, text style, font weight. I want this to be bold, and size about 20.sp. Okay, let's go ahead and import that real quick and see if we can call that first of all inside of here, reader app bar. This title is going to be a.reader. I'm going to pass our nav controller like this. Let's go ahead and run this just to see. Okay, it looks really good. Very small there. Maybe I can change the scale here, make it a little bit bigger by, say, 0.1. Okay, let's start again. Scale up, actually. Okay, let's see. All right, that's fine. Doesn't really matter because you are going to add your own anyway. So we're making progress here. We are creating this structure here at the top. As you see, we now have the icon, which is different than this, but that's fine. And then we have a reader. And then next, we're going to add this sign out button there.